I remember that day clearly at Tan Son Nhat Airport. I was carrying heavy luggage and even heavier hopes for a bright future. I was heading to New Zealand, a country I had researched and found to be incredibly peaceful. After 10 long hours sitting on the plane, I finally arrived in Auckland, the largest city in the country. My new home was about 30 minutes away from the city center by bus. After settling in, I immediately caught a bus to the downtown area to explore and do some shopping. My first destination was the Sky Tower. Looking at it from the ground, it felt massive. I bought a ticket for the elevator, which cost 20 New Zealand dollars, about 300,000 dong at the exchange rate back then. As the elevator rose, my heart started racing. I am deathly afraid of heights. When I reached the observation deck, my legs were shaking so hard I could barely stand. I looked out and saw some Westerners doing something insane. They were strapped to cables and jumping off the top of the tower like monkeys. They called it the sky jump. For some reason, maybe it was a rush of adrenaline or just a moment of pure madness, I decided I wanted to try it. I paid nearly $150 for one jump. The moment the staff started putting the safety gear on me and led me to the jumping platform, I realized I had made a huge mistake. I wanted to pee my pants right then and there. I was terrified, but I had already paid the money, and I did not want to look like a coward in front of everyone. So I closed my eyes and let myself fall. I did not fly through the air gracefully like a bird. I fell headfirst like a sack of potatoes falling off a truck. During those few seconds of free fall, my life flashed before my eyes like a slow-motion movie. But instead of childhood memories, all I could see were scenes from JAV movies I had watched. I was terrified that I would die before I ever got the chance to be with a Western girl. It was a pathetic thought, but it was real. And the cable finally caught me and I touched the ground. My head was spinning and I could barely walk. I stumbled around like a drunk man and somehow ended up right in front of the casino next door, the Sky City Casino. From that exact second, my life took a dark turn into a world I never expected. They say gambling luck always treats the new players well, and I was the perfect target. The first thing that hit me when I walked in was the sight of the girls. There were two stunning Western women dressed in bunny outfits standing at the entrance. They had perfect bodies, tiny waists, and round hips that looked completely natural. I stood there drooling like an idiot. I walked deeper into the casino, determined to win some money so I could come back and impress those girls later. Inside, I was overwhelmed by rows and rows of slot machines. There must have been hundreds of them. I had no idea how they worked. I had only seen them in movies where people put in a coin, pull a lever, and win a jackpot. I decided to try it just for fun. I fed a $20 bill into a machine and watched the Chinese lady sitting next to me to see how she played. After 15 minutes, the machine had swallowed my $20. I thought to myself, this thing eats money even faster than the illegal horse racing machines back home in Vietnam. I was frustrated and decided I would press the button 2 more times with $2 per spin and then leave forever. The first spin was a total loss. The second spin was also nothing. I was disappointed and about to stand up and walk away, but then the machine started making a loud beeping sound. Lights started flashing everywhere. Looked at the screen and my heart nearly stopped. Jackpot. $1,500. The Chinese lady next to me looked at me with pure envy. I felt like a king. I had never made that much money in my life, and I had done it in seconds. A staff member came over, wrote me a ticket, and told me to go to the counter to cash out. I walked over, collected my money, and felt invincible. I put the cash in my pocket, patted it with my hand, and walked confidently towards the table games area where the real action was. This area was filled with people playing against dealers. It was packed with Asians, mostly Chinese gamblers who looked like they had not slept in days. I stopped to watch a game of blackjack. I had played something similar in Vietnam, but the rules here were different. They flipped all the cards face up on the table. The player gets 2 cards, and the dealer shows 1 card. You can draw as many cards as you want to get as close to 21 as possible without going over. If you go over 21, you bust, and the dealer takes your money immediately, even if the dealer also busts later. If you stay, the dealer must draw cards until they reach at least 17 points. It looked so easy, but as I watched, I saw people losing everything in minutes. I sat down at a table and a Chinese man next to me glared at me, probably thinking I was going to ruin his luck. What? I started playing small with $10 bets. I won some, and I lost some. I noticed some players were using a strategy where they doubled their bet every time they lost. For example, if they lost 10, they would bet 20, then 40, then 80. If they won once, they would get all their money back, plus a $10 profit. But the casino is smart. They have a maximum bet limit. I watched a guy lose 5 times in a row, and when he reached $360, his face turned green because he was afraid to bet again. I stayed away from that trap. I played carefully, but as I sat there, the gambling fever started to take over my body. My blood started boiling. I stopped betting $10 and moved up to 20, then 50, then $100 per hand. After an hour of intense play, I had won another $500, stood up, feeling like I was the smartest person in the room. I had no idea that I was just walking deeper into a trap that would eventually destroy my life.